This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Good Saturday morning to all of you happy pappy people out there in internet land. It is another edition of 757 Saturday Sports Talk, presented by CoVA Sports TV, all over the web with you as we chat about the sports world with the month of March winding down. It is winding down. He is the coach, Edward Vincent Young. I am the other guy, Matthew Patrick Hatfield. We're giving out our middle names today as March is coming to a close. And he is not going to be the next head basketball coach of the Memphis Grizzlies. I have been informed this morning it will not be Ed Young. He wants to instead watch the Yankees play. And because of that, he will not be the next coach of the Memphis Grizzlies. Taylor Jenkins will not either. There you have it. How are you, sir? You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Beautiful day out. Been outside already. Oh man,
awesome.
Nice.
Weather's this is like beach day. You know what this day is. You know what it's like. It makes me feel like we're ready for. You know what makes me feel like we're ready for, Ed?
What's that?
It makes me feel like we are ready for this.
But all
right, I got 26 chickens and one died. How many you got left? Answer, please. See what you got. That's what it makes me feel ready for. You're just going to keep looking down and not look at the screen? Is that what you're going to do?
Say it again now. What was the question?
Oh, you weren't paying attention?
Why don't you go pull to the full in the pool?
All right. I got 26 chickens and one died. How many you got left? Answer, please. See what you got. What's the answer?
Wait, you got 26 chickens.
What's the answer? How many you got left?
Did you say you had 26 chickens in one basket?
What's the answer?
I have no clue.
You can't do simple math?
I heard you say I have 26 chickens in one basket. What's the answer?
No, I didn't say basket and one died. How many do you have left?
26 chickens and one died. How many do you have left? 25.
Okay. We'll give you the answer after the next break.
Okay.
Make you wait around for the answer.
No, because you just want more time with full in the pool.
So you want the answer now. You don't want to wait. You're that type of guy. You're gonna disrupt the flow of this show. Is that what you're gonna do? There's Woody out there. I know Woody loves the pool, full in the pool. He loves all that. And by the way,
Woody,
Ray's out there watching. Good morning to Ray as well.
Woody, I blame you for full in the pool. 100%.
No, it's not Woody's fault.
100%, Woody. You encourage him to
Woody,
do it.
Don't blame Raymond. Don't blame anybody.
One person for him to encourage him, and he figures the world wants to see it.
No. There's lots.
I'm blaming Woody.
Love it. You want it now, or you want to wait till the break? You want to disrupt the flow of the show? I'll give you an answer now if you can't wait.
Just give the answer. Don't go back to full in the pool.
No. I have to give you the fool in the pool to give you the answer. Here you go. 26 chickens and one died. How many you got left? Answer's 19, folks. 26 chickens and one died. 19. Not that hard. Piece of cake. See, you got it wrong. Yet again, Ed Young is wrong, just like he is with all of his basketball picks. Wrong. The answer's 19.
Number one, my picks
25.
are good. My picks are real good. That's number one. Number two, you said 26 chickens. You try to say
I said 26 chickens. You weren't listening. You got to listen.
Ask the people. Well, you can't ask them now because they're all
agree. They're watching the show. There's no ask the people.
Yeah, you can't ask them
because he loves it. He loves it. Yeah. What else is happening in the world of sports? Well, you mentioned Taylor Jenkins is out of a job with the Memphis Grizzlies.
Wait a minute. Stop right there.
Yeah, go ahead.
I saw that. Can anybody explain to me, because I haven't seen
why? Rant for Ed. Go ahead.
I haven't seen why. Why was he fired? I mean, they got a winning record. They're in fourth. They're in the playoff positioning. Morant's been out. They're still winning. So why did he fire him? Did he cuss the owner out, or so what happened?
They believe he had lost the locker room over the course of the season, and a change might mitigate how the Grizz finished the season. So lead assistant Tuamis Lisalo.
No, and that's another thing.
Totally butchering the name.
Swami, whoever he is not the lead assistant. All right. Veteran Joe Boylan on that staff, who is a very good basketball mind, should be whatever, the lead assistant and the replacement. That was another. And I got nothing against Swami, whoever the guy is, but he's not the best assistant on that staff. The other three guys are even better than him. So all I'm saying is they feel he lost the locker room. Well, find another locker room and build it up. All right. I don't see how he lost the locker room. Get rid of players instead of a coach who's got a winning record. If you lost the locker room is the player's domain. I understand what they mean in symbolism. He lost the locker room. He's lost respect of the team. The team's not listening to him. Well, you know what? As the owner, I bring the players in with no coaches around and said, well, let me just say this. If you're not going to listen to him in terms of what has to get done, let me know so we can send you elsewhere and get some people for you who will listen. We got a winning record. We're fighting for the playoffs. Our star guy, so to speak, is out, and we're still doing a good job. So, anyways, that's my rant.
All right. Good morning to Howard Davis out there too. What do you got to clarify? Playoffs? Is he talking about playoffs for baseball?
NCAA
or NCAA tournament. Yeah, well, you might have watched our special jam-packed Sweet 16 MLB preview edition we did the other day. So I'm not sure. Clarify it. We'll go through some of that again.
Hey,
go back and watch it.
The late edition that we had the other night with the baseball overs and unders in the NCAA had a few people here in Suffolk saying to me, "Hey man, why you didn't put that on? You didn't warn nobody. I missed it." I said, "Well, you can still see the replay." So some people were mad that we didn't let them know we were going to do it. They would have tuned in.
Okay. Well, we'll do that next time. We apologize. We didn't put out a big missive. We'll have to work on our crack staff or our team behind the scenes to put some stuff together. We're actually going to be doing some things that will be rebranding some of the show, by the way. We won't announce all the details yet, but coming April, we've got some exciting news involving and regarding this show. And other ways that you can watch this show. But we will hold that until that is officially announced in the coming weeks, and it should be very, very soon. So there you have it. Oh, he meant basketball. I'm guessing he meant the college basketball tournament. Well, I had Auburn over Alabama in my main bracket. I did about 26 brackets for the folks out there. I did 26 chickens. And I think Ed did about 19 brackets, right? You did 19, I did 26. Is that right?
10.
Oh, you did 10. Okay. My apologies. I gave you 9 more than what you had. Sorry. I had to clear my ears out. As the late great Mercurio used to say to me, go buy some wax and get the soap out of your ears. I was like, you have that backwards? Go buy some soap and get the wax out of your ears. Anyways. That's where, and by the way, lot to do this morning. We have a couple special guests. We're going to be joined by a golfer. First time we've had a golfer ever on this show. We told people, listen, we don't just do basketball, baseball, football, folks. We'll do swimming. As you see, I get in the pool a lot. We'll do racing. We'll do horse racing. We'll do hockey. We'll do field hockey, tennis, you name it. We'll wrestle. We'll do anything. Ed loves wrestling. We'll do anything on the show. We'll talk some golf coming up with Monty Starks. You say, who is that? He's an accomplished young golfer over at Northumberland High School in the Northern Neck, Ed. And he's not only just an all-region, all-state golfer, but he's going to Jackson State to continue his career playing golf. I understand he idolizes Tiger Woods. A lot of youngsters do. And for good reason, he's viewed as, if not the greatest golfer of all time. Some say it's Jack Nicklaus. He's one of the greatest golfers of all time. But we'll talk about Monty and his journey and all that he is doing. And we'll be talking in the 11 o'clock hour with a Hall of Famer. We get Hall of Famers on this show all the time. And he just got named to the U.S. Look at this. U.S. Basketball Writers Hall of Fame. Chuck Culpepper, with those names like John Clay, Al Featherston, Doug Feinberg, Bob Holt, Milton Kent, Kevin McNamara. We've had Chuck on the show many a times, both radio and podcast side. We'll talk with Chuck about that and the games in the NCAA men's basketball tournament. I think he was in Providence last week for the Patino and Calipari showdown, and I think he is checking out the Elite Eight games today in person. I think he is there for Duke, Alabama, but I don't want to misspeak. He'll tell us when he comes on, I'm sure. I think he's at the Prudential Center later tonight for the Duke and Bama showdown in Newark. But he'll set us straight if he's not. So there you have it. How about, look at that. Look who's chiming in too. Ed, our man Lynn Burke. He said, how about curling? We'll talk. I think he meant curling, not curing. We'll talk curling, Lynn. Always on this show. We'll talk curling. Anytime, anywhere, any place, anytime. Yeah, there you go. That's curling. So we'll say that. We say hello to Maria Linda out there. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate her tuning in. Oh, we also have one of our favorites, Shonda Bailey, Hampton Crabbers girls basketball coach, tuning in. We say hi to her and Lynn and Maria and everybody out there interacting with us. As always, you have any comments, questions, statements, bones to pick with Ed Young or me. Most people have more bones to pick with you. You're welcome to do so at any time on this program. And in fact, we have Ask Coach Young coming back later today. We want some fan videos. Send them in for Ask Coach Young. Go ahead.
Hey, shout out to the two ladies coming on. Make sure in some manner, I don't know how, they get your shirts, the Virginia Prep shirts, because we love the ladies. We got to have the ladies on. And of course, getting Shonda Bailey, who's one of the top coaches in the state, in the United States, not just the state of Virginia. Another great year. Didn't get the big crown, but another great year. I think she ended up lost in the semis, correct?
Yes. Heritage of Leesburg, who won the title and on the road. But I got a feeling she's going to be back, like you and I have said before. A lot of teams that didn't win the championships, they're well positioned for the next season. Albemarle boys, Hampton girls. We went over some of that in the state tournament. There's a lot of it. But we love the coach interactions. We see her watching the show. Kenneth Harris was watching the show from Green Run the other night. Doug Craig told us last week he enjoys this show. And as you told him, I think, on Facebook, I don't know why you don't spend more time doing stuff that matters with your family than watching us. But you know what? We do appreciate the coaches and the fans and the players and everybody tuning in, whether you're an athlete, a coach, an administrator, or just a fan of sports. We like.
But get was it Maria and Shonda? They got to get jerseys. They got to get shirts.
We'll just reach out to them. By the way, I'm glad you brought that up because we have a couple of things before we take our first break and bring in a Monty Starks too. We have to give the update on how the bracket challenge is doing. And by the way, we got some people watching on, I see on Instagram too. I see, matter of fact, Lisa Corprew. We love Lisa, AD at Bayside High School. We'll be over there later tonight for the Mario Mullen, first ever Mario Mullen Invitational All-Star Game, Southside Peninsula. So glad she's tuning in on the show. Jody Ryan, who I know will be doing the announcing for that, is watching. Our man, Mr. Myers, is watching as well. We got, and I wish we could put this is one thing we're working on with the StreamYard is with the stream, I should say, is getting the comments from Instagram like we can get with Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube on the screen. But we appreciate Chase watching in, G to Maestro watching in, and Ernie Hankins out there, big ODU fan, wants to know, like to ask you guys a question, your opinion of Robert Davis Jr. staying with the Monarchs. Still not letting know. This is a great asset to the team. Shooting is remarkable, and I think we're going to have a great year next year, so we appreciate that comment. So we'll address that here in a second. Robert Davis led the team in shooting, set a single-season record for most made threes in a season. We'll hit on that in a moment because I do think that's going to help ODU attract some more weapons and they get our shooter alongside of him. Look out. And I got my Monarch shirt on today there. I got my ODU basketball shirt on there, Ernie. But we also have to give you the update on the bracket challenge because we're going to give away prizes for those that did not know this. And sorry, Lynn, you have a spotless bracket, but you're ineligible for the prizes because we don't have you in the contest with the points. Maybe Charlotte will fill one out for you next year. First prize gets an Outback Steakhouse gift certificate, $100. Second prize gets a Dillard's gift certificate, $50. And third prize, which my dad doesn't care for, Virginia Prep's classic T-shirt. So he won't get one. He's got enough of those, as he said. But we have to give an update on how that is doing. While I pull up the standings, you have any thoughts on Robert Davis coming back? And this is something I was talking with someone the other day about this. We now have players making the announcement, and you have to. It's not something that I know you want to poo-poo this, that they're coming back to a team from the portal because there's over 9,000 players, probably 900 players in the portal. You have to do that to let the teams know that you're coming back. Otherwise, they're going to have to make the roster adjustments thinking you're not a part of it. So Davis is coming back, led the Monarchs in shooting and points. And I think it will help Mike Jones build the roster around him a little bit, him coming back. There are some things he certainly can improve on his game, and I think that will be a conscious effort from him and his staff moving forward. But it's always good to have your leading scorer and top three-point guy back in the fold for the next season. It means it's one less piece you have to go find in terms of bulk of scoring or production, right?
Well, first of all, I wish I could shake the young man's hand because it's rare, extremely rare. By the way, there's 1,300 players in the men's NCAA basketball portal.
Is it 1,300 now?
1,300. Now, I shake Robert Davis' hands because he's not the rule. He's the exception now, where the best players on most teams, even good teams, I said before, low level, bad teams, best players are going to go. You're not going to keep them. Even good players, starting five, are in the portal. It's just the way life is. So Robert Davis, hats off to you. I hope you have a tremendous year. I hope you get named All-American because what you're doing is rare. Kids are chasing, as they say, chasing the bag. It's all about money. I've been told by some people I'm 100% wrong. There's people still loyal to a school or, hey, as long as the coach stays, but if the coach leaves, why can't they? I'm telling you right now, you talk all you want to talk. It's chasing the money. It's the American way. It's what they're doing. If you listen to the games last night, by the way, the games last night were exceptional.
Oh, they were good.
You hear guys at the foul line and the announcer says, yeah, he played at Southern Utah, Mississippi State, and now he's at Houston. Or some of them, 4 schools. How can you play for 4 schools? This is your 5th. Normally you get 5 years in college to get your 4-year degree. So you're telling me these kids, every year they've been in college, have been in a different university. Tell me they're chasing their degrees. They really care about where they're at, blah, blah, loyalty. Please, you're wasting your time with me. It's chasing the money. And yes, Sean Miller left Xavier, went to Texas. All the Xavier players are in the portal. Probably 4 of them will show up at Texas. I understand all that. But to me, I see Red Sox up there.
Yeah.
Okay. Go Red Sox. Red Sox have a great possibility this year being
you can't say go Red Sox as a Yankee fan. That is so wrong of you.
I don't hate the Red Sox. This is my team. This is my team.
Yankees fans cannot root for the Red Sox and vice versa. Alabama fans cannot root for Auburn. Carolina fans can't root for Duke. And Ohio State fans can't root for Michigan. There are just certain rules in life, and you break them all the time. He wants to know how Howard does about the game times for today. And as we honor the late, great Mario Mullen, by the way, who once upon a time was a 2-time state champion at Bayside, part of that NCAA tournament team at Old Dominion, Ed, that knocked off Villanova, coached by your pal, who we're going to get on the show, we hope soon, and Steve Lapis, who was on the game last night you brought up. So we all tie things back to the 757 and what we're talking about. At least we tried to. The game for the Mario Mullen Invitational, I'm going to give it a rundown. It's going to start at 4:00. You have, before that, though, a youth game from 1 to 2, I think it is. Player and coach arrival, 2:30. They're going to open doors around, I think, 3. Pregame ceremony at 3:45. There'll be a moment of silence. They got a half-court shot, MVP selection, all kinds of great things. So to answer your question, the game is supposed to tip at 4 p.m. sharp. So there you have it. And Mr. Hearn out there, we love Chris. Shout out to Sugar Rogers. I'm glad he brought that up because I was efforting. I haven't efforted it yet. It was in my planning stages to get Sugar on the show, and we probably will. I got a chance to interview her for pregame with our ODU women's basketball broadcast this past year when William and Mary came to us. William and Mary, by the way, made the NCAA tournament despite us beating them, soundly. I think it was one of our biggest margins of victory all year, but I got a chance to catch up with Sugar then. She had a Kings Fork High School. She's now with the WNBA's Golden State Valkyries, I think it is, new team in the league. She's an assistant. So shout out to Sugar. We will effort getting her on the show soon, Chris, and pay some big respects to Sugar and what she's doing in her great young college coaching career. Whispers are starting, by the way, that the coach at William and Mary, Erin Dickerson Davis, may be one of the finalists for the Northwestern, the DePaul job. Now, she's a Northwestern gal, so it'll be interesting if she does take the DePaul job. Their coach just retired the other day, but she's on that short list of finalists that are being reported. So there you have it. Good to see that, though, with Sugar. And, yeah.
I saw Chris the other day, and he was hoping that maybe Sugar would be under consideration for the head job, Norfolk State. And my comment is I haven't talked to Sugar, don't really know Sugar, know of her. I got to guess she's on a pathway to being a WNBA head coach.
He does.
I think that's probably fits her mentality a little bit more than the college level. Again, I could be 1,000% wrong, but obviously taking this position lends me to believe that's another great opportunity for her for eventual goal. Once we get her on here, we'll hear from her exactly what her goals are. But that's just my guess.
Passed away last summer, Woody, in early July. So, but we're going to definitely go there to see some of the All-Stars. A lot of good youngsters from the area. I don't have the full list, but I believe you got like Adrian Newton from Maury, a couple of state champs from Green Run, and Cash Jackson and David Trey Miller. Number of good players from around the area. I don't have the full list in front of me. Our man, Mr. D, Johnny D, wants to know, bad coaching or playing going rogue at the end of the Houston game? Okay, I'm glad this question was asked because I actually was texting one of my basketball experts this last night. You know, I'm not a huge Kelvin Sampson fan. I have to respect him as a coach, but I just, he just gets under my skin. And this was discussed on the desk last night on TBS with Candace Parker, Jay Wright, the former two-time national champion coach at Villanova, Seth Davis and company. I felt it was more bad defense, but it was a well-drawn-up play. Mulos Uzan gets the ball back from Mr. Tugler on the inbound, scores it. What was your feeling on it, Ed? You watched the play, I'm sure. What did you think?
Great play. Tremendous play at Kelvin Sampson. Inbound 51, I guess they called it. If you watch it again, the defender on the ball turns his head, sees the screen up top, which was really the confusion screen or the fake screen, as they sent the guy away on the weak side from the inbounder. He jumps way over to cover that guy. And I'm guessing there was a near strong side defender covering a guy in the corner. He should have dropped. Once you rotate over, you rotate down, you rotate back. Teach it all the time.
That wasn't Trey Kaufman-Renn, was it? Who was the near?
I can't give you the names right now. They showed the replay enough that I should know it. But I love the inbound. Being a coach, I love the play itself because I thought for a second that they might have trouble getting it inbounds, and they hit the screener coming to the strong side, which is what you most worry about. When they got it to him, and just as he got it to him, I'm saying to myself, he's going to throw it back to the inbounder. But inbounder has to come in with both feet on the ground first to be an eligible receiver to catch it and do it. So that's what I thought. Oh, my God, he's going to be excited, step in, won't have both feet down, he'll throw to him.
Which Seth brought up. Yeah, Davis brought that up, yeah.
But he was there. Again, it's a timing play. It's a practice play. So the guy that caught the ball knew he had to give him a second or two to get both feet on the ground and throw it. But the defender on the ball, when he went way over there, I'm going to say right off the bat, as a regular person watching the film, oh, you screwed up. But did the guy on the strong side not drop to cover the inbounder? Because the pass has already been made. So we jump to the ball. And John, being a coach, knows too. We jump to the ball. You don't hug your man anymore. Other than the fact sometimes coaches will say, don't leave so-and-so open because if he catches it, he's an automatic three. He's going to make it. Yeah. So now you do leave everybody on their own island. You cover your man. There is no help defense on that. Sometimes based on the situation, that's what it comes down to. So was it a coaching mistake on Michigan's part or
Purdue, not Michigan, Purdue.
Or player mistake? I'm gonna say if the coach didn't say nothing about helping whatever on the defensive or Purdue's part, it's the coach. But if the players, right, if the players did not rotate or whatever, I mean it's on the player because you're taught to do that. I can't go out and do it for you, but you have to go over those situations all the time. If not, cost you a game. It costs them not only the game, but they're out of the
It's playoff. Weird to say this, but you almost would have preferred LJ Cryer, who's open for a split second, to take that shot. Because remember, he started out 1 for 11 from the field prior to his 3 with 3:33 to go that put them up 5. They got up 10. Purdue ends up tying it on the 3 from Camden Heide with 33.7 seconds to go. You almost would have rather, Ed, given up the open three and just taking your gamble chances than to let that inbound happen like it did. But nonetheless, Houston, after being ousted the last 2 years in the Sweet 16 by Miami and Duke out of the ACC, they take out a Big Ten team to get their 16th straight win, and they'll take on Rick Barnes' Tennessee Volunteers coming up in the Elite Eight. Tennessee, by the way, with a guy that is got some roots from VA coming their way in Troy Henderson, once a two-time state player of the year at Lancaster, part of John Marshall's state championship team this year. He is committed now to play for Rick Barnes and the Volunteers. Sing Rocket Top. Go ahead.
Back to that play, too. There's an example why a lot of coaches will go zone defense out of bounds so you don't get lost, screwed up on a screen, don't switch, whatever. They'll go zone, spread it out, and then you mark or you target the top players in terms of who can shoot it, because that's probably where they're going to go to it. That's why a lot of teams do that. This depends on the situation who you're playing, whether am I going zone, go man-to-man. I'm not against man-to-man inbounds, but you have to teach the concepts on the defensive side as to what to do. Now, and you got to remember, too, pressure situations and whatever, kids may forget. But like I tell high school kids in the years that I did coach college, I'm sorry. If we teach it, we go over it, and we work it. I can't accept the fact you just plumb forgot. Now, you can't scream at a kid and chastise him and throw him under the bus and all that, but you got to get it. You got to get it done.
Yeah, you do. By the way, the one thing I did miss from Friday night while staying in to watch those college basketball games, all of which were entertaining, the Michigan State game with Ole Miss, which went down to the wire, Tennessee, Kentucky, an SEC showdown as Tennessee finally beat the Wildcats after losing to them twice. The comeback for Auburn, they were down by 9 against Michigan with 12 minutes to go. 3 players get 18 plus. Janai Broome with 22 and 16 ends up fouling out, but they storm back with that 30-8 burst to beat the Wolverines, led by Danny Wolf. 78-65. But the one thing I did miss, Ed, was not going to open night at Harbor Park. The Tides had their home opener. By the way, my niece, little Noelle, she went with her mom, Irene, out there. They went to go see the new, and then both being Filipino descent, they have a new Filipino stand on the concourse. They got some other new things. They got new seats in Harbor Park. They got a new, we call it not a screen, but what are the things called? It's not a screen to protect for foul balls. What do you call that? Like it's not a screen. What do you call it? Anyways, you know what I'm talking about.
The screen, the mesh netting that they have.
Yeah, the netting, not a screen. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
A lot of neat things.
Call that a screen. It's okay to call that a screen.
Anyways, well, netting would be the more proper term. They get mad at me if I butcher it. But Tides did fall short, although Gunnar Henderson down. If you want to check out Gunnar Henderson before he gets back up to the big leagues with the O's, you got a chance here while he's down here to start off the season. So there you have it.
We'll be out to some Tide games. We'll see him. Broome tough for Auburn. It is. Diabolical said it is the net.
Oh, and he must have been upset. Diabolical, don't tell me you either were invested or you were rooting against Ed's other guy, John Calipari, because he did have a big lead and squandered against Texas Tech, which is funny. I didn't text you, Ed, but I texted one of my basketball buddies. I said at halftime, they gave the graphic, by the way. I'm sure you saw the great graphic. This is always the kiss of death. The graphic gets on the screen that John Calipari's 35-0 went up 6+ points in the NCAA tournament. And guess what happened? That wasn't going to hold. And guess what? Your guy here did not jump in play on that one. I stayed away from that. I said, that's got bad news written all over it. Learned my lesson many times on that one.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are going to take – I've already been asked a question by a few about Calipari's coaching, and I'm not one to – I am one to second guess because I am a coach.
Yeah, you're an analyst now. You got to do this. Don't protect your guys. They had a great run in the tournament. They knocked off Kansas and Bill Self. They knocked off St. John's and Ricky P. Patino's boys couldn't throw it in the ocean if they were 5 feet. Sitting there at Virginia Beach, they can't throw it in the ocean. R.J. Lewis was terrible, and then they led most of that game. Janelle Davis played great. But John's going to regret not calling that timeout in the overtime down 1 because Wagner was dead in the water on that play. I don't even kill him for not fouling up 3 at the end of regulation. But John's teams had some big leads this year. They almost blew it against Michigan, had a big lead in the SEC tournament against South Carolina, had to hold on for dear life or they didn't even make the tournament. They had a big lead against Texas, I think it was. This has happened to them before, so it was not a shock to me to watch it unfold. Because trust me, I have watched enough of those Razorbacks games get razor close, and I could see it coming from a mile away.
Well, the other thing is those pick and rolls. What was his defense on the pick and rolls? I
would not alone, diabolical UNC fans like my man Rodney Young out there probably agree with you. Go ahead.
I would take Calipari over Hubert Davis. I'd take a lot of people over Hubert Davis. I think Calipari, if you saw the next day interview, I remember seeing on ESPN when he talked about, boy, I'm feeling sick. What he's saying is he's probably already knows without even watching the film, I made some mistakes. If I can have it again, I would go and change it. But that's the idea of coaching. Sometimes when you're coaching by the seat of your pants, you have a system. And sometimes you get in a game, the system gets nudged a little bit and you kind of coach by the seat of your pants, feel of the kids, situation, who you're playing. I remember you asked me, well, why didn't they call that timeout? They threw it inbounds and hurry up, got it down the floor. And I made a comment, well, maybe that's who he wanted to have the ball. If you're worried about who's going to get the ball, it's 3 seconds to go to game, you need the points to win it or tie it, then you would call the timeout because now you can set up, hopefully, to the guy you want getting that shot instead of leaving it up to whoever. And that's one of those situations right at the end where it's all craziness and that you don't call the timeout. I know people say, well, I don't call the timeout because you let the defense set up. Well, true, but hopefully you're going to be able to outsmart them with what your offensive call is. So I don't really crush a lot of times the coach for not calling timeout. Trust me, I've been in that situation a million times. Sometimes called it, sometimes didn't. And many times after thinking, man, I should have called it or I shouldn't have called it. I already know all that. Remember, 2020 coaching, whoever does all that mess are undefeated for their life. When you're in that situation, it feels a little different. I think John, again, and I would tell him if I saw him that, you should have did a better job on the pick and roll, switch it, whatever. Everybody has their own method, philosophy about how you do pick and rolls because it's a main thing in basketball and you stick with it. But sometimes on certain teams, you have to change that up for whatever reason. But anyways, I like how the people out there are all looking into the coaching part of it. And, all I say to those people out there that are jumping on the coaches, what is your coaching record? That's all.
Oh, stop it. And he's right. Never been a tactician. And I'm with you, Diabolical. I think Bama's going to beat Duke today. We're going to take a timeout because he was just ready to come on. And then I think he just went off so we'll effort getting him back on. We're talking about Amonte Starks is set to join us next year, the golfer from Northumberland High School, talk about his commitment to Jackson State and more. It's coming your way here. Chuck Culpepper 2 on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. It's CoVA Sports TV. Stay tuned.
James Catato tells us tonight there's a new team making new noise in the USL2 scene on the other side of the water.
Something special is brewing inside the walls of the Virginia Beach Sportsplex.
We're not here for moral victories. When we're on our day, we're a legit team.
See the stars of the future in pre-professional action at the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. This combined season ticket special is for men's and women's. That's 15 games for just $100 for adults and $80 for youth. VBU has a brand new women's team that competes in the W League. Soccer fans, it's time to rally behind Virginia Beach United. Tickets are on sale now. Visit vbunited.com. Don't miss out on Virginia Beach United.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us. And the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
Hi, this is Wayne Williams of Williams Deloach. I'm an experienced personal injury attorney, and I hope you don't need my services because I certainly don't like to see people injured on a daily basis. But in preparation for that unfortunate situation, your insurance coverage is very vital to your case. Give me a call today. I'd be happy to discuss your insurance situation for you and your family. That's the most protection you have, and you want to have that ahead of time.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. You need John Maynard. PFP, LUTCF, EA, all those initials behind his name mean he's qualified to work on your taxes. He's an ATA, accredited tax advisor. He's an ATP, accredited tax preparer. He's a fellow at NTPI, the National Tax Practice Institute. And if all that weren't enough, he's also been voted the best of Norfolk and the best of Virginia Beach awards. John Maynard has been professionally trained in tax preparation and representation. He brings to the table over 30 years' experience in federal and state returns. He delivers personalized, one-on-one service, and he's a certified electronic filer. The IRS likes electronic filers. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service, 455-6763.
At Atomic Wings, we prioritize real chicken with fresh, all-natural, never-frozen ingredients, all packed with serious flavor. Order from over 15 awesome flavors at atomicwings.com.
Welcome back to 757 Sports Talk. No, it's not in the pool. It's Hatfield and Young at the Plex, the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. Here are two guys that, even though they never shut up, they're always dropping pearls of wisdom. Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Like my skin is like you're making me uncomfortable. Like I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, we're back here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on CoVA Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. Unfortunately, Monty Starks had something that just popped up, so he's unable to join us at the moment. He was ready to join us before our timeout, and something just popped up. So we'll try to get him on at another time if we can't get him on later on in the program today. We do have Chuck Culpepper scheduled to join us here at 11:05 a.m. Eastern. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. We always encourage you to interact with us, like, share, and subscribe. We're on YouTube. We're all over the web, and you can chime in with anything on your mind in the world of sports. Yes, Woody, all the number one seeds did make it to the regional finals. It's 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-3 with our Elite Eight matchups, which feature Duke, Alabama, which features Texas Tech taking on Florida, Auburn taking on Michigan State, and Houston. Do we have a problem? No, we don't. The Cougars taking on Tennessee, and Pool Man has struck again. So we'll dig into all that coming up in the 11 o'clock hour with Chuck Culpepper, though. But we got to make it out to a Tides game here soon, Ed. Didn't get a chance last night, so we got to get out there for some Norfolk Tides baseball. Should be lots of fun. You got the finger up, means you got to say something.
Tide game, and I've been saying for weeks, Admiral Hockey.
Oh, yeah, you want to get back to the Admirals hockey because you had a blast. You must have played about 13 clips from last year with you there, yeah.
What I need.
Did you see what happened the other night, by the way? The Admirals game, they didn't play. Did you see why? They had an issue with the ice.
Boy, was it cold enough?
They had an issue with the ice is all I know.
Zamboni not working? I want to drive to Zamboni one time.
No, we don't want that. You were the Zamboni. You could I could see you driving that thing into like the wall and stuff. Oh,
no. You just go slow. You make a turn.
No.
I need a Admiral Hockey ticket hookup. Anybody out there?
Dennis can take care of you, I'm sure. Why don't you hit up Dennis?
I don't know. I'm afraid if I ask Dennis, he was known for one of them body checkers. I mean, you didn't mess with Dennis on the ice. Let me just put it this way. His own teammates didn't say much to Dennis once game. He was focused. He was into it, and he loved checking people up against that glass. So I don't know, but I need Admiral Hockey hookup tickets. I don't want to be way up top. I don't have to be right in the front row, Bob Uecker seat, but I want to get back there and watch it because I liked Admiral Hockey and of course I'll be taking in some Tide games. I know we'll go, but also a good buddy of ours on here on the show, Jim Hammond, Shawan University.
Has he got the same seats, by the way? Because he's got some nice seats if he does.
He got some really good seats. Yeah. He has season tickets and that, and every once in a while he will throw me a bone and knowing that I don't pay for tickets. Come on, man, I'll take you to the game. So.
You're a cheap son of a gun. I used to have season tickets. I used to have season tickets in section 207, right near the railing back in 2003, third base side. But I did not renew them. My mom and me actually had them back in 2003. It's going back 22 years, but I loved it because it was one I had. Baseball. The thing about baseball, I tell people all the time, is what separates it. And I know we'll get Tim Kirkton and some other baseball people on. We actually tried to get Mark Feinsand, MLB.com, but he was booked for this weekend. The thing about baseball that separates it doesn't make it worse or better, but it's your companion with you every day. It's the old lemonade on the porch. It is with you, and that's why people live and die with their announcers. It could be like a guy like Pete Mishu right here with the Tides. It could be a big league announcer. You could be a fan of, hey, now Dave Sims, now the guy for the Yankees. I happened to listen to it the other day a little bit during y'all's crazy. It got a little dicey season opening win over the Milwaukee Brewers as Devin Williams tried to give it back to his former team. It could be a guy like Tom Hamilton who's going to the Hall of Fame, rightfully so, just deserved with the Cleveland Guardians. It can be fill in the blank. Charlie Steiner does it with the Dodgers. You got John Miller, who used to be Joe Morgan's partner with the San Francisco Giants. The list goes on and on. People know their play-by-play guy. Gary Cohen with the Mets, Howie Rose. So people live and die and breathe with those guys and gals, because Susan Waldman helps out Dave Sims, by the way, on the call each and every game. And it's really neat to have baseball back, even though I am one that likes it being in the start of April, not in late March. All right, Bill Walcott's got a lot of words for us. Good Lord. Bill, we got to trim some of these comments down. We put them all on the screen here. It takes up over our faces. I think we should give a shout out to William & Mary's women's basketball team. We just did, Bill. First ever tournament victory. Yeah, they did win that play-in game. Also, the first team with losing record to ever record a tournament game, although they were totally outclassed and outmanned by Texas. This was an experience that these young ladies will remember. See, there was so many. Bill's comments are like the Ed Young of talking. It's so long we had to cut it off. It was ... So, but we do appreciate him as it takes my head off the screen here. Yes,
that's
right.
He's trying to get rid of you. He's trying to get you off the screen.
He is. And Erin Dickerson Davis, you got to keep her locked up. You got to make sure you value these coaches because she could bolt for another job. It's that time of year. Am I allowed to start a rumor, by the way? Can I start a rumor? Am I allowed?
No, you're going to anyways. But before you do your rumor, William & Mary, we did say hats off to him, and it's tremendous because that's a tough place to get the type of athletes that you're going to need to get in the NCAA tournament. And I try to say that the best way I can say it. William & Mary is like an Ivy League school, okay? The kids that go to William & Mary, they go there because it's William & Mary. So
academic, very, very prestigious, yes.
But their top players, again, if so-and-so is going to offer you $1 million and your best your school can do is $20,000, where are you going? Come on now, it's common sense. Now, William & Mary men, still one of 4 teams on the men's side have never made NCAA tournament. And hopefully
I thought Tony Shaver would get them there, didn't you? I thought he would get them there.
Yeah, Tony Shaver should have never been fired. I mean,
agreed.
Call it what it is. But yeah, hats off to them. And yes, when you get in the NCAA tournament as a head coach, your stock to move to a different school goes high, because everybody thinks, well, if they got that team in the NCAA tournament, I know they can get our team. That's just how it works. But yeah, hats off to William & Mary for getting in there. Hopefully it'll be a regular occurrence, not just once every whatever years. And hopefully those men will be able to get a chance here coming up soon.
Well, we mentioned Erin Dickerson Davis might be on the move. Larry Vickers, Norfolk State woman. What a year they had. 30 wins. I'm watching it last weekend after the WNIT game. I got the call for ODU against Navy last Saturday at Chartway Arena. By the way, Jim Corrigan said that I should be up for Hall of Fames for dealing with you for all the years that I have. So I appreciate Jim saying that. That was so kind.
Well, he also texted me, and I won't say it on the air, but he did say, I don't know how.
Yes, you are. Go ahead. Say it.
He said a couple hours with you. He said, he went home when I said about taking medicine. He said, you were right. I took some medicine. He said, but I should have took it beforehand. I said, well, either that or just wear some earplugs or whatever. But we
got to get Jim back on the show. We had him on the radio side maybe 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah.
You know what? I wish Jimmy was still coaching. I think he has a lot to give to kids still, but he may not want to, especially how the way college basketball is now.
He helped Kenny Brooks on his staff to get to the Final Four a few years ago at Virginia Tech before Kenny left for Kentucky.
Yeah, I think he has a lot to offer. And also, if he's not coaching, he's tailor-made for an analyst job. I mean, I hear a lot of guys on analysts doing analyst work, and I'm thinking Corrigan is not as good. He's would be better than a lot of those guys. If that's his comfort zone, if that's what he'd want to do, you work with him. I think he could do that well.
Absolutely. He's terrific. But so after that game was over, though, Wayne connected me. My pops went to an establishment, I would say which it is, but they don't sponsor the show. and we were watching the end of the Patino Calipari Bowl, St. John's and Arkansas. Was not the greatest shooting in the world. And also on one of the TVs in that place was the Norfolk State Maryland women's game. And they gave Maryland a battle, which, by the way, Maryland, Brenda Freeze, another great coach. She took Dawn Staley's Gamecocks to the wire yesterday. We haven't talked a lot about the women's tournament, which we'll have to spend some time on here. Some good matchups coming up as Kim Mulkey's team came roaring back against NC State. Big shout out and ups to Isaiah James. She had a Princess Anne High in Virginia Beach. What a wonderful season she's had in career. She's enjoyed doing it right for the 757, representing in a big, big way. But Wolfpack couldn't hang on and get back to the Elite Eight after losing last year in the Final Four to South Carolina. You got a lot of the heavyweights still alive. UConn's probably expected to win it now. Juju Watkins, the terrible injury we talked about. But Larry Vickers at Norfolk State wins 30 games at NSU. You win 30 games anywhere, like Jim said to me, you're doing something right. And he gets the job at Auburn down in the SEC. So congrats to Larry. He's a 757 guy from Ocean Lakes High in Virginia Beach. It leaves a vacancy for Norfolk State. And here's my rumor. I'm starting to rumor now. If he wants it, if they want him, which they should, I think Jermaine Woods is a home run grand slam if they get him to come from Coppin State. I think Jermaine, who's coached in the area before, coached Maury girls for a while, coached on the boys' side. He coached at Old Dominion, coached at Virginia Tech, was down at Wake Forest. I think he'd be a home run hire. Again, if he wants it, they should want him if he wants it.
I agree with you. I think if you're going to take names off the top of your head, no question, he would be one to look at. He knows the area. He's been in Division I basketball for a bit, so the recruiting, the portal work, all that, and you want to keep that program up there now because Larry did a tremendous job with that, and to take all that into getting a position at Auburn. Wow, what have we got on another Hubert Davis?
Well, Derek said his daughter's at Women Married. Workload is tough. And Bill, like Bill, is short and sweet. I like you, Bill. We love you, Bill. Hubert and Bill may be under the microscope. I agree with you. I think Bill may not be so much under the microscope to be fired. Hubert, yes, although he's got the extension. Bill might test the waters elsewhere and leave Lawrence, Kansas.
What?
Why are you shaking your head? No, he could coach in the NBA if he wants.
I don't think Bill would.
You sure about that?
NBA.
Okay.
I don't think so.
You might eat them words later. Go ahead.
I'll eat them words later. It would, of course, nothing shocks me now the way the world's going. But
I can see him coaching Spurs. Couldn't you see him if Pop gives it up, coach the Spurs? I can see that.
No, I'll tell you who's going to get the Spurs job now is Taylor Jenkins, former Spur guy. So he'll be on
Taylor Jenkins. Really?
Okay. Yeah, he coached under Pop.
You have to run that by my father, by the way, the number one Spurs fan in America. And by the way, one of our friends is with the Spurs front office. Now, is Dave Tello. We'll see him at the PIT coming up next month. Yeah,
we got to get Dave. We got to get Dave on here to give some of that NBA stuff too.
We got to do the show. We got to do the show from the PIT. We got to
PIT people bring us in to do the show. Allow us to do the show
and stuff. I understand. I can put it out there because I think I don't know if it's been. Well, I'm going to get in trouble if I announce it anyway. But I'll say it. A little birdie told me that I think they're going to televise some of the PIT games, if not all of them, locally on Channel 3 WGNT. One of the their sports department's going to televise them. So I heard that, which is good for the area. I was part of some of the broadcast stream last year online, and it was really cool to hear people were watching us from different countries, which we were getting some of the analytics on the computer that showed that. But
that event should be televised. It is a big deal for the college kids and a big deal for the NBA people and a major deal for a lot of pro teams overseas because they have the biggest contingency of scouts there from all of the pro leagues overseas because a lot of those guys, that's probably going to be a good shot for them anyway. So it would be good to have that on there, but I forget what my point was about before we got into there.
We were jumping from all over the place.
Yeah, the coaching part. I know we talked about the coaching part, but Bill Self in the NBA, I don't see. And you're right, he will never be fired. It would be a situation where they would have come to an agreement, and he would step aside. And I really think Davis will never be fired. He's a Carolina guy. It'll be an agreement. He'll step aside. I never was gung-ho when Davis got hired. I was not gung-ho about him being the head coach at North Carolina. I didn't see it. I don't think his background and this will be a statement of sound pompous of me.
Don't make the Lake Braddock fans out there. He's a Lake Braddock alum upset at you.
Yeah, he is. But I don't think anything in his background showed that he deserved the head job at North Carolina. Lead assistant, maybe, whatever, but not head job. Now, that doesn't mean I hope he gets fired. He failed. No. Hope the
guy got an extension. He got an extension.
Yeah, and he did. And, of course, nowadays, extensions, they don't mean much because guys get fired the next year.
I know.
How about talking coaching?
Mm-hmm.
Look what happened at St. Francis, Pennsylvania. Lost at the buzzer in the playing game at Alabama State.
Now you know the head coach pretty well, right? Is it Rob? What's his name?
Coached against him when he was a player in high school.
What's the guy's name? Help me out. What is Rob? What is it?
Rob Krimmel.
Rob Krimmel. I would say Krimmel. Okay, yeah.
If people don't know that whole situation, Rob's been at St. Francis forever. He played there. He played high school ball at State College, Pennsylvania, where Penn State's located. I coached against him. Tremendous high school player. This kid did it all. Goes to St. Francis, could have went higher. Goes to St. Francis, does a tremendous job as a player there. And then he becomes an assistant coach. And when I was at Quinnipiac, I coached against Rob. We were both assistant coaches. So we got to know each other on that kind of basis too. So he's been at St. Francis a long time. Struggled early years to the point where people are like, how's this guy? He loses 20 games every year. He's still got a job. St. Francis, another tough. If you've never been to St. Francis, Loretta, Pennsylvania, go to an open field somewhere in Suffolk or go to the Dismal Swamp away from the water.
Dismal Swamp.
And imagine a college on that facility right there. That's St. Francis. It's in the middle of nowhere. Altoona, PA is the biggest place next to it. And Altoona is not that big to begin with. But anyways, Rob, they lose a tough game to Alabama State on a Hail Mary pass that slips out of somebody's hands. The weak side guy catches it, lays it up, game over, they lose. Tremendous audience for that. They got a lot of hits around the country, a lot of alumni, everything was great. 1 week later, I talked with Rob. They was in the process of re-recruiting his kids, getting out, asked me about any players down here that are slipping through the cracks. And then 1 week later, their president announces the school's going Division III. After next year, they're dropping down because they cannot compete with the money situation. So it became a accident of the NIL, the pay for play. I don't like using NIL anymore. It's pay for play. P4P, pay for play. Anyways, they go Division III. Now the story is, was Rob ever told? Because he never mentioned to me in our conversation when I asked him about what's the outlook next year, years after, whatever. He never said, well, coach, we're going D3. Now, maybe he knew it and didn't figure I was worthy of privy to know that for what reason, whatever. But they go Division III. 2 days later, Rob resigns, actually retired. He announced it as a retirement. And apparently he's done with coaching. And one of the things the president said, I went back and did some research and looked at what was going on. One of the things the president said, other than the money, was because of the NEC's geography now, the NEC Northeast Conference, they got Chicago State University is in that conference. And it's a lot of Eastern schools, New York, Jersey, Pennsylvania, but Chicago State's in it. And he made a comment that since Chicago State's in it, he feels it's not good for their kids to be traveling so much because and this is a quote, because they need to be more on campus around their fellow classmates to make more friendships. I've never heard that in my life anywhere by any college president. Kids need to be on campus to make friends. They're spending too much time traveling all over the country, which is a fallacy because the farthest trip is Chicago. You're there a couple of days, you come back. Okay, that's a heck of an experience for those kids to go to Chicago who may never go to Chicago in their lifetime. But they need to be on campus to make friends. So they're going to drop down to Division III, which probably suits their profile much better. It's a strong Division III area. But for the coaches not to know, and they have elevated one of the assistants as the head coach, would be shocking to me. I will not believe those coaches didn't know they were dropping. I can't see that. And if they didn't know it, then that's a shame on the university. But my point of all that is, this is what the transfer portal and the money now is going to do, and they will not be the first, and they're not the first.
No,
they'll definitely be the last to drop down. So
there was somebody in the last year. Who was it?
Hartford University in Connecticut.
That's right. I was going to say it was Hartford. I was going to say someone in the last year or two has done it, and we've seen closer to our home base here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, schools like James Madison go from 1AA FCS participation for athletics to FBS. Now, as a member of the Sun Belt, we've watched teams change conferences all over the landscape. But you're right. I think there will be a couple more schools that just and we've seen some programs going back to COVID that got cut athletically because of just budget cut. They couldn't financially afford them, which we always hate to see that. I mean, certain athletic programs that have to get sliced because of the financial crunch that's happening now with intercollegiate athletics, but certainly it's looking like people say. You said Power 4, Power 5, Ed. I almost think, and we'll maybe bring this up to Chuck because he does a fantastic job covering all different college athletics and so much more for the Washington Post. It feels like it's the Power 2. It feels like it is the SEC and the Big Ten, because the ACC and Big 12 they're the next conferences viewed in line. It used to be for years the ACC and Big East dominated the college hoops landscape. But this year they get one Sweet 16 team, the ACC with Duke, and none from the Big East, as UConn came awful close against Florida, and St. John's didn't get there as a number 2 seed. Great year they had under Rick Pitino, but didn't get there. So a lot to certainly look over and digest. But when we come back here, we are going to be joined by the one and only Chuck Culpepper. Yeah, he's going into the Hall of Fame, Basketball Writers Hall of Fame. We'll give him some acknowledgement on that and also get his thoughts on the Elite 8 matchups both today and tomorrow. All 4 number 1 seeds are alive. Will all 4 number 1 seeds make it to the Final Four for a second time ever? That remains to be seen. You got 3 2 seeds and a number 3 seed in Texas Tech trying to upset the apple cart. Really not an upset the apple cart. We don't have a George Mason, a VCU, a Butler this year, but a lot to go over with Chuck coming up here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. You're watching on CoVA Sports TV. Make sure you hit that like button, that share button, and the subscribe button. But Ed's going to take a break, get him some food. And one of our sponsors for food, you got to have some pizza. We're talking about Chicho's. You'll hear from them and more in just a bit. Stay tuned. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
CoVA Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit covapainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 Meal Deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
What does happiness mean to you?
Being in the ocean with you, watching you catch super fun waves.
In Virginia Beach, happiness is breaking barriers and savoring the sunshine.
I couldn't pick a better place or a better person to be with. This is what makes me happy.
Happiness is going all out.
And taking it all in.
Here, happiness is whatever you make it. Find yours in Virginia Beach.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us and you'll know we're here for you.
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and that evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
And we are back here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel on CoVA Sports TV. We have a special guest with us. You read him in the Washington Post. He once upon a time did some work in the 757, going back to his days with the Suffolk News Herald, Suffolk Sun, and he's now going into the Basketball Writers Hall of Fame. Ed, you see him part of that distinguished group of folks with Milton Kent, Kevin McNamara, Bob Holt, Al Featherston, John Clay, and Doug Feinberg. We're talking about a good friend, Chuck Culpepper. Chuck, thanks for coming on the show, and congratulations. You're a Hall of Famer now.
Thanks very much. I don't believe it, but okay.
Well, it's there. We're not making it up. It's not. Nobody's pulling your leg. You've deserved it for all your hard work. But real quickly, before we get into the basketball games, because I know you don't want to talk about yourself a ton, you had to feel a really warm, melting moment in your heart when you got that news, right?
Well, I looked back over all the names that are in it, and it's more than 200, I think, and so many whom I either know or who have departed and whom I knew. So that was the part that I realized, well, I've spent a lot of life at the court sides and the hallways of arenas, and just in the workrooms. They are all people I felt lucky to hang out with. So it made me read back from the beginning, which is in the 90s when it started, back across the sort of the list of people, and was some of it was kind of melancholy too, because there's quite a few who I knew well who have passed on. So yeah, it was like that.
One game that sticks out from all your years of cover, I know people love, they do this with coaches, and I do this to Ed all the time. Is there one game is there a favorite? You've covered a lot of things besides just college basketball, college football, tennis, golf, you name it. But for college basketball, was there one game you were at where you said to yourself, you pinch yourself later and says, I can't believe I got to cover that, witness that, document that, chronicle that?
So the first thing that comes to mind is 33 years ago yesterday in Philadelphia. Duke 104, Kentucky 103. The caliber of that game, well, everybody knows about that game, but the caliber of that game was so, it wasn't just thrilling in the sense of the suspense, because the lead changed hands. I think it was 5 times in the last minute of that overtime. The game went to overtime, but also the way it changed hands, the caliber of play, and if they missed plays, if they did not make plays, if the tension was too much, but they were making plays. And I remember that night, a friend of mine took me to a nightclub, and we finished working late, and so this was 2 or 3 in the morning, and I was just kind of staring into space, because sitting at a bar staring into space, because that game had been so just, it had been its own force in a way. And then I have to bookend that with March 22, 1998, which is a more forgotten game, but an incredible one, where Duke and Kentucky met again in a regional final again. And Duke had a 17-point lead with 9:30 to play. Tubby Smith's first year at Kentucky, and Kentucky roars back and wins 86-84. So then the third one would be that Villanova, North Carolina final of 2016. But that was a harsh deadline, that one, the lead changing hands, and you had to send in the job within as fast as you could after the horn.
Yeah, Chris Jenkins' heroic shot to lead Villanova to a championship in Jay Wright's Wildcats, but just a remarkable recall. And Ed, as a basketball coach, even last night, as we're watching those games unfold, they always bring up the inbound there with Leitner and Hill. And as we watch, can Houston prevent a miracle from happening against Purdue? They ended up winning at the end.
It is. And Chuck, first of all, thanks for coming on. And more importantly, well-deserved. Feel good about it. I know you don't really talk a whole lot about yourself or whatever. To get into that Hall of Fame as a writer, you've had to do something. That's just not, you get one, come on in, you come in. we'll expound for you because you've done a great. And the fact that Humble starts at the Suffolk Sun here in Suffolk, Virginia, and your office was when they opened the closet door to get the broom out, they saw your office. You've come a long way. You deserve your work. So we will sing your accolades for you.
Now real quick though, Chuck, what year were you at the Suffolk Sun? Because Ed's been coaching his 500+ wins towel in the background there. He coached at Nansemond for 20+ years, led Suffolk High to a state title. I don't know if you guys bumped into each other during his time at Suffolk High. What year was it?
Well, I started stringing there, what they call it, which is when you're not a full-time employee, but when I was 14. So that was 1976. So
that's before Ed. Ed was at Suffolk High. What was your?
I wasn't even born yet. No, and by the way, Chuck, the Suffolk Sun, everybody streams for them. I'm not sure they have a building now or a physical place because Matt also has done some work for him too, and he doesn't even know where he doesn't even know where it's located because it was always streaming and sending stuff. So hats off to you. I came to Suffolk in '84. I think it was my first year at Suffolk High. So I came after you. You were long gone, but to know that you had some humble beginnings with the Suffolk Sun, which is kind of a division of the Virginia Pilot, you have done some stuff. So it's good in here. Now, the question I would have for you, Chuck, too, is and this is my great time of the year, too, as many people, the NCAA Tournament. I just don't think Super Bowl is big. NBA playoffs, best of 7. World Series, here we go. But the NCAA Tournament for 3 weeks, you've got the little John, you got David and you got Goliaths, and you've got the upsets, the long pass, the craziness, the personalities. I just think the NCAA Tournament, and I've been fortunate enough to go to 8 Final Fours when I coaching high school, coaching college. There's nothing like it. My first couple of years there, I was like a kid in a candy store. I was just looking around, you see all the personality, whatever. But how do you've covered a lot of different things. How do you showcase it in terms of the NCAA Tournament against everything else? Where do you place it?
I think it's something that happened in the past week, or something that in the past week I started to really crystallize. I've thought about it for years, but never in this way, maybe. And it's the losing locker rooms. And the losing locker rooms, somebody's usually crying in there. And often, all those seasons are ending, and they're all ending at the same time, same time frame. And like I was in Providence at the first 2 rounds there. And on Thursday, we had 4 losing locker rooms. And on Saturday, we had 2. That's 6 teams that you watch have their seasons end, sometimes abruptly, sometimes like Clemson in a completely unexpected manner where you fall behind 40-16 and you're trying to play catch up. And it's jarring and it's jolting. But the most important thing about it is that in the losing locker rooms, you get a sense as an outsider of what it was like for them to be together for those months, and what it was like for them to collaborate, and how hard it was, what they did together, and what a valuable human experience it was. And to me, that's what separates March Madness from the other events. And the women's tournament would be the same if I were assigned to that, but you would never in those other events see so much of that in one place. You see so much meaning in one place, and every single person will tell you 100% that the loss hurts when the season ends. The death of the daydream sort of hurts. You envisioned yourself going a few rounds farther and further and what that would be like. But what hurts the most is that they're not going to be together anymore. So you get a sense of what a really powerful experience that was for them to be together across those months and how hard it was. And remember, when we're talking about teams that are in the tournament, we're talking about teams who generally were together, were cohesive and did function very well together. It's like this festival of human collaboration. And I do tend to love it more every year. And as the number, when it starts with the 64 on the Thursday, and then the number of teams starts to dwindle, I start to get sad, because that means it's gradually leaving us. Now we're down to 8 and by Monday 4.
Yeah, we went from 64 to 16 like that within those first 2 days. The Thursday, Friday are extremely zany. Now, before we look ahead to these Elite 8 games, which I know Ed and I want to dive in with you here, Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you were in Providence last week for the big Patino Calipari showdown to Ed's Idols. Tell me about it. Tell me about it, because it was a rock fight. It was an ultra intense game, but it was not a thing of beauty in terms of the shooting.
That's true. We're talking about, can there be a great ugly game? And it was kind of like that. It's the 3-point shooting was the lowest percentage in any NCAA men's tournament game ever. 4 for 41. I think 2 for 19 for Arkansas in victory, 2 for 22 for St. John's. I was struck by a few things. One was the incredible amount of noise that St. John's had created and brought fans there. You know, obviously it's easy travel to Rhode Island from New York. And so I was just struck by the sound of them. And they had that sound that I think you would recognize of fans who have been starved for a while, you know, and it had that kind of ring to it. So it was kind of a shame for the tournament in a way that it was, after the first weekend, it was gone. That fresh, new sort of energy was gone. But the other thing, you know, is just, I mean, I covered the Sweet 16 in 1992 as a sports writer in Kentucky when Kentucky played UMass and barely got out of it to play Duke. And Patino was coaching Kentucky, and Calipari was coaching UMass, and Calipari was the new thing. And Patino had recommended him for the job as part of the, you know, helping UMass choose a coach. And they were just getting started, and they were both these, you know, big presences in a way. And so then to see, what are we now? Well, 33 years later, to see them 72 and 66 and opposite each other. And to kind of, I wasn't in Kentucky when they were both coaching, you know, Kentucky and Louisville there for those years, but it was, I don't know, it was very hard to explain what it was like.
Yeah, heck of a battle there, as it was Arkansas moving on to the Sweet 16, but they end up falling in overtime to Texas Tech. One more for me before I turn it back over to Ed for the games today. Just to look back at these Sweet 16 games that just finished up, Chuck. One stand out above the rest for you. Certainly we had an overtime game in Texas Tech, Arkansas, which I think, you correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's the only overtime game we've had so far in this tournament. We've had just one buzzer beater, which was Maryland's with Derek Queen beating Colorado State in the round of 32. You also had the game last night that went under the wire with Houston prevailing against Purdue. Was there one of the Sweet 16 games that stood out above the rest for you? Was it that high-scoring matchup, which maybe you saw that one with Alabama BYU?
Right. I guess that was it, because Alabama's 25 threes rocketed past the record, which had been 21, and that record had stood for 35 years. And the team that held that record for 35 years is one of the all-time darlings that we, you know, that what sort of the why we love the event kind of team, Loyola Marymount. And they played Michigan in the second round that year. And it still blows me away that Michigan scored 115 points that day and got blown out by 34, 149 to 115. It's just staggering. And whenever I think about it, and so to think about it again and to watch this Alabama team kind of jet on past it, you know, I was also, though, on TV last night, really, really sort of in awe of the run that Auburn made when it was down 9. That there was a lot of energy, a lot of actually smiles in that run. I thought that run was really powerful. So that struck me too. And of course, we all love Kelvin Sampson's inbounds play.
Yeah, Ed loved that as a coach. It was right up your alley. I'm sure you've had a few of those, and you'll be taking them moving forward, Ed.
Oh, that one I wrote down. I wrote that one down last night and filed it under my own system and name. So when I get the chance to get back on the sideline, we run in that one. Chuck, when you look at today's games as we move forward, there's so much we could talk about with the games in the past, but I know time is of the essence. What do you see today in the matchups? Intriguing. Alabama, Duke. Some people think this could be both teams over 100 each. And then you've got Florida, Texas Tech, where I don't think anybody is giving Texas Tech any chance in this game. And I think they're going to surprise me. I don't know if they'll win it. I got Florida too. I got Florida playing. No, I got Auburn playing. No, I got Florida playing Duke, I think it is, in the final. But anyways, what assessment these two games and what you think we can see.
Well, I think the thing that was really striking about Duke and Alabama Thursday night is that they played beautiful basketball, both of them. It was and the way Duke plays together after not being together for very long is just, I mean, they are a beautiful team to watch. They really are. And of course, Alabama, when it's making its shots, you know, and it's all about, and Alabama's all about the speed of it too. And now 4 Sweet 16s in the last 5 years. So these, in a way, in the 2020s, these two are, you know, both of them are way up there on the, I don't want to say, people always use that word blue bloods, but I just think they're both sort of empires now in this era. So that's the game, I'm going to go to, and I'm really excited about seeing is just their caliber on Thursday night. Both of them was just really, really high. And, you know, and Cooper Flagg, of course, of Duke, Player of the Year, National Player of the Year and everything. It's entirely different to see a player in person, I think. You know this, Coach. And I was just really floored by how he moves. And it's uncommon, I think, how much in control he is of that 6'9", 205 that doesn't come off as gangly at all, and how powerful he looks. And and how, of course, sees the whole court and his assists and everything. So I think that Duke Alabama game I started thinking about Duke Kentucky of long ago when I started thinking about that game, because I think that has don't want to jinx it, but the potential to be really something.
The thing that I guess what people are saying about Alabama, the negative, is as good as they are on offense, they don't put the time and effort on defense.
True.
So and you made a point, if they're not hitting shots, they're not stopping a whole lot of people from hitting theirs.
Right.
I kind of believe that, but on the other hand, they're not horrible defensive team. They just spend so much time and they look so real good on the offensive end that I don't think they're a bum team when it comes to deep. They have too many athletes, and they got Nate Oates, who's not, sit back and arms folded, legs crossed type coach. He's on them for what they've got to do. And a lot of times when teams get scores in the high 90s and hundreds, people will say, well, they don't play defense. My argument with that is, if you're scoring a lot of points, the other team has the ball a lot. So if they know how to run their offense and hit, they're going to score points too, no matter how good you are. And I lived that in my career when, just to make an example, we averaged 100 points a game in 89, 88 season at Suffolk High School. And I remember screaming at my assistants, why are we so bad on defense? We're giving up 65 points a game. And I mean, angry mad. And they said, Coach, we're beating teams by 35 points a game, number one. Number two, we score almost every time we have the ball. They're going to have the ball a lot. And then it kind of dawned on me, oh, you know what? I'm thinking we should be giving up 25 points, 30 points a game. But no, because we played a lot of good teams who are going to score. And I think that's the problem that's thrown on Alabama that shouldn't be right. The other game, Texas Tech, Florida, is it a matter of Florida just has too many weapons, as they've shown? And then the other thing is not Texas Tech, wait a minute, who are they type team? And here we are, Elite Eight, and nobody talks about Texas Tech.
That's right. Not a peep. And had to play Cal Perry in the Arkansas in the regional semi out there. And that just, deepened the idea that nobody was talking about them. And, there's two things about that. I don't think people who don't, a lot of people start tuning into the sport for March Madness. And that team finished second behind Houston, alone in second in the Big 12. How many teams are in the Big 12? Like 30. And that team, finished second behind Houston and is the only team to beat Houston since, I believe, around late November. I believe Houston's won every game other than that since then. And I believe that it was in Houston I could have that wrong, but I believe it was when they beat them.
I think that's right. Yeah.
So, that's it. And then that program, I don't never know how much to read into the idea of, past teams at a program, but I do think it gives some sort of, when you think of a program that went all the way to the, as we know, final game in 2019 and had a 3-point lead on Virginia with 15 seconds left and looked like it was probably going to win it, and has done some things in the tournament since. There's a sense of expectation there, I think, and a sense of belonging, and if they win that, I'll be shocked, but maybe not fall down shocked.
Well, probably, Chuck, tell me if I'm wrong, he's probably Grant McCaslin, the coach for Texas Tech, who used to be at North Texas, is probably the least known of the remaining Elite Eight coaches. When you look at Kelvin Sampson, obviously Duke with John Shire together for Coach K, Tom Izzo at Michigan State, who is known for March runs, Bruce Pearl at Auburn, Rick Barnes at Tennessee. You look at the guys that we have left in this thing. Todd Golden at Florida is young, but he's been in the news for off-the-court situations too. Mm-hmm. And you look at who's left in this thing, and he's probably McCaslin, the guy you say about who is that guy from a story standpoint. Might be interesting for you if they are able to move on here. I'm curious. And then you move on to the games on Sunday where you have Auburn, a 1 seed, and Houston, a 1 seed, taking on a 2 seed, with Tennessee taking on Houston after losing last year in the Elite Eight to Purdue with Zach Edey. They had a big-time first-rounder in Dalton Connect last year. They got one probably this year with Chaz Lanier to go with Zakai Ziegler. And then Auburn, Michigan State figures to be another rock fight type of game with Pearl's Tigers and Izzo Spartans. People have talked so much about, Chuck, that we've lost some of the charm. There's not as many Cinderellas, upsets, but this is where the tournament distinguishes itself, doesn't it? Because you have the powers, the 1 and 2s, and this can be your great games. And I think if we get a classic like Duke Bama, I wouldn't be shocked if we get a classic or two tomorrow. Would you feel the same way?
Yeah, I do. I don't know if it'll be as pretty as I expect Duke Bama to be, but it'll be, compelling maybe in that Arkansas St. John's kind of way, only with many more made shots, I think. And, the seedings of the 8 teams, I got curious about this. They add up to 13. The lowest they could possibly add up to would be 12. So there's only one, seed in there that wouldn't be total chalk. And that's, which one? Oh, that's Texas Tech is a 3. So I wondered if, and we've had other seasons. Think of 2022, St. Peter's, a 15 seed, made it to the Elite Eight. So, and there were other, teams in that Elite Eight that made it add up to, I think, somewhere near 40 or something. I wrote them all down, somewhere near 40. So I wondered if there had ever been another year where the Elite Eight were only added up to this low. And there was, and it was 2007. It was when Florida was trying to repeat, and they played Oregon, which was a 3 seed, in their regional final. And all the other 3 games were 1-2s. So you're right. For all the, all the melancholy we feel about, people have felt about no Cinderellas and about only big conferences in the Sweet 16 for the first time, here comes the reward, I think. I think you're absolutely right about that. This is the reward for that, is that, okay, look at St. Peter's, an incredible run, 3 wins. I think they beat Kentucky, Murray State, and Purdue that year. And so incredible run. But the regional final with North Carolina was pretty much done pretty fast, and, not a thing that anybody remembers, really. So I think, that's one byproduct of getting the Cinderella that far. But the byproduct of not getting any Cinderellas this far is the, huge games that we've got, 4 games that we've got for this weekend. In Houston, Tennessee, I don't know how to sort out that. I mean, I love Ziegler about as much as I love any college player that I can ever think of. That game to me that's even more of a rock fight than Auburn and Michigan State.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I expect LJ Cryer to shoot it better, but that could be one of those games that has 12 to 15 fouls in the first 10 minutes of the second half, but you're just on the edge of your seat watching to see where the next twist is. So I'll get you on this one here. Maybe Ed has one to follow up here before we let you run. And we thank you so much immensely for your time here before the Elite Eight matchups tonight. as we kind of handicap this thing, I think in my bracket, I had Auburn, Alabama at the end, SEC, which, by the way, could have easily had 6 of the 8 in the Sweet 16. Almost half the Sweet 16 was SEC schools. Is your feeling an SEC school cuts down the nets here with your chances of being, obviously you have Auburn, Florida, Alabama. What's your gut tell you? Because I feel like I watch a game and it changes my gut on who's going to win this thing. What's your feeling on who ultimately captures this thing at this moment here on March 29th?
Well, I like Duke the most, I think. I like the roster the most. I like their possibilities the most. I think they have the most answers, Of course, we all know that doesn't mean you win it, and nor would an Alabama win this very evening, keeping them out of the Final Four at the brink for the second straight year, nor would that be a stunner, I don't think. So, but I do like Duke. I also, we have this thing that's going on this weekend, which is each of the regional finals, as I think about it, each one has an SEC team in it. Therefore, could look for the first Final Four, all of one conference. People were joking about the SEC tournament in Nashville being of a higher caliber than the NCAA tournament. There were wisecracks going around about that. But I believe, as I think back on that tournament, I believe these would, the same 4 teams that were in that Final Four in Nashville for the conference championship, which Florida won, have a very plausible chance of being in San Antonio in the Final Four to make an identical Final Four for that. That is really something, and that's going to get us either if the SEC gets 3 teams in, it's going to have us talking about 1985 when the Big East Memphis was in the Final Four, not in the Big East, but then Villanova, Georgetown, and St. John's were all in from the Big East. So that's where this might be going. The very idea that we could have a duplicate Final Four in San Antonio is really wild.
It is. Ed, if we have Auburn, Florida, and Alabama, Tennessee, heads will explode all over the country, especially in the South.
Yes.
Well, Chuck, that's a good lead-in for what I want to ask you before you got to run. Stephen A. Smith this week, Jay Billis talked about. Well, Jay Billis was more so talking about what Stephen A. Smith had mentioned. Stephen A. Smith talked about the ruination of college basketball. You will never see mid-major or low team win it again, especially in the era of NIL, because the better players are going to be poached by the teams. Jay Billis came on with the idea that, hold on, Cinderella can still go to the dance. It's possible, whatever. I kind of went in the middle with both of these guys, and I definitely got to have your take because you're much smarter about it, closer to it than we are. I kind of think once these lower teams that are in there now who got beat earlier, their good players are going to be gone. So that team may not make another trip unless they get some diamonds in the rough out of the portal from smaller schools behind them. Because we're seeing a lot of teams with Division II players do really well because their roles fit very well and they move with their coach. That's where I think you're not going to see that happen. You can still have Cinderella come in here and win a game or 2, maybe even 3. If you want to call Drake a Cinderella at 30-some wins a year, come on now. And I think the other problem too is those coaches who did a great job to get there, they're going to be taken by the bigger universities whose team did get there, and people say, well, we're going to take him because he can get us there. I just think because of the NIL situation and everybody jumping for the money, one of the things I've hated in this tournament, ain't much I hate, is when these guys go to the foul line and you hear the announcer say he played at school 1, 2, 3, and sometimes 4. Now he's at his 5th school. That's unheard of in the past. Unheard of. So don't tell me they're chasing for their degrees. What do you think the situation is with the smaller schools of that nature in the future being here and getting, you just talked about the SEC having 4 teams in, which I think most people will hate because what it's going to show is most money wins. I don't care what anybody tells me. The SEC teams have more money for NIL than pay for play than I think even the other ones. And I know the ACC is getting hammered because they're not buying into it as much. But what do your assessment? I
think the Smith line about the this college basketball is going to keep being like this, I'm not sure, because again, you think of 2007, like we were talking about, we've had, like Billis said, I come down strongly on the Billis side when he said, we've had other years like this before. And it's true, where the Cinderellas got sort of wiped out. And another one of them is 2019 when Virginia won the title. That one had a lot of chalk in the regional final. I do think, yes, that where the money is very, very important. The thing that might counterbalance that is, and Pitino brought this up in Providence, which is, it used to be you'd play you'd be, say, a 4 playing a 13, and you were a lot better than that team. And Pitino was saying that's not true anymore. The difference between the wide gaps in seedings is not what it used to be. It's actually narrower in terms of caliber and capability. And I think part of that, and there's been a lot of talk about this in football, is the volatility itself might keep a lot of Cinderellas afloat through the years and might kind of sustain them. Just that volatility itself, because they too, can build something. Everybody's building quickly. You have to. It's going to be hard to, for teams to. And another thing Pitino was saying is they don't play together long enough to know each other in the way that he was familiar with coaching players, to collaborate and back in the day. So I think this could be. I mean, I'll be interested to see, of course, but I think this could be just a one-off, like 07 was, or 19, where the Cinderellas die down for a year and then they, then they pop back up. Just 2 years ago, we had that Final Four with both FAU and San Diego State in it. San Diego State's a great program. It's got a great thing going for year after year. But Miami was in that Final Four. Is a quirky Final Four, very, very different. And I think the idea of having another Final Four like that in the years to come I think it could happen for those things Pitino was talking about. But as you say, it's very hard to argue against that idea of the money.
He is Chuck Culpepper, the outstanding columnist for the Washington Post. Go pick up a copy, read them online at WashingtonPost.com, and a Hall of Famer as well. Thank you so much for the time, my friend. Enjoy Newark, the Bama-Duke matchup, and then the Final Four down in San Antonio. I'm sure we'll be talking down the road.
Hey, Coach, I'm staying in a Met household right now.
Oh, no.
Celebrating the first Soto homer in here.
Well, I wish them luck. They'll do well. They will not outdo the Yankees unless they're playing a weaker schedule, which probably is. National League teams are obviously weaker. But I'm going to stick with my Yankees for a while.
All right. Have a great weekend.
Chuck, thanks a lot, man. Again, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Congrats. Thank you, Chuck. That is the one and only Chuck Culpepper with us here from the Washington Post as we talk about the college basketball, NCAA men's basketball tournament with him, Elite Eight. He's there in Newark. He stayed at a Mets household. That's funny. That's funny. I love it.
I was going to say, when you said he's in Newark, I was going to say, Chuck, when you walk outside, look to your left. Look to your right,
no, don't say that.
And then run to your car and go from there.
Do that.
I don't want to say that. Hey, he's a good dude, man. He knows. He's been around. I feel good for him because he's done some work. I mean, he's been in some places where I bet he sat back sometimes and wondered. And that's what I was going to ask him. Did you ever think it would come to this, Hall of Fame? You're at the Final Four. You're covering all these teams. Was that moment in your career where you said, I might have to go sell insurance instead of doing all this? Because and he's so very humble about it. So like when you asked him earlier and you were asking him his accolades or whatever, you could tell he was fidgety. He didn't really want to talk about himself. That's not what he's in the business for. And that's why I wanted to say, Chuck, you need to bask in this, because the U.S. Basketball Writers Association, that's a pretty prestige group to get involved. If you look at the people they put in there over the years. So
listen, we only get the best of the best. We get Hall of Famers like him. We get David Teal on as a Hall of Famer. We get the best of the best. The criminal Tim Kirchin's a Hall of Fame. We get the heavy hitters, the HOFs. When they come on the show, it should say at the bottom of their thing, HOF. So
yeah, we're not Hall of Famers, but we know how to get them.
We're in the hall of. They put instead of F, they cross off the F and put SHAME, Hall of Shame. That's what we're at.
Yeah, that could be it too. But at least we effort to get those type of guys who have been there, whose work has shown that they deserve that. And there's a lot of guys that deserve to be in there too that haven't along the way here. Locally, we've talked about it many times. We talk about Lynn Burke, all the time and effort he's put into his job. And Lynn did it at the high school level, which is, again, in covering sports, it's the hardest. Chuck and them, everything is great. At that level, it's a little, I don't care anybody, it's a little easier. But somebody like Lynn, all those years, daily press, staying until midnight, getting deadlines in, dealing with high school coaches who didn't get it, who don't understand it, and trying to coach them through what needs to be done for the writer. We got deadlines. Please let us know. Trying to decipher out. That's the type of guy that needs to be in the Hall of Fame for the work he has done. And he's not the only one. He might be the one out in front, but there are other ones too that I would just hope the powers to be would recognize that. And if people say, well, if you want him in, you got to nominate him. We are nominating Lynn Burke forever, always, that he deserves these Hall of Fames that have people in them that have done work. And I'm not going to smash anybody, but there's people in these Hall of Fames who have not done the time, effort, and work a Lynn Burke has.
Somebody is declared for the NBA draft and entered the transfer portal. We'll tell you who that is when we come back. No, it's not Ed Young. We'll tell you who that is when we come back and get ready to put the finishing touches on this edition of the program on CoVA Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. Interact with us all morning long and all the time. You can do that with us. Woodrow says UNC fans have to be upset. They do. Duke is playing, and they're alive for a championship while they're at home crying in their beer or milk or whatever it might be.
How about on the women's side? Carolina Duke, right? They're playing each other.
And guess who won? Kara Lawson, West Springfield's finest, as she gets a date with Dawn Staley and the Gamecocks. Maybe let Ed look at the brackets for that and see. But we'll come back with that. And also the latest edition of Ask Coach Young. It's all coming your way on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Ask him. We got to get questions sent in. Video, you can send this as a ticker.
Give me the expose type questions.
We got one. It's gonna have him so irate when we come back here on CoVA Sports TV. But time to pay the bills. We'll come back with more. Stay tuned.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better. And it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us, and the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
I'm Dr. Mark Cardelia, orthopedic surgeon and surgical director of the CHKD Sports Medicine Program. We see a lot of knee injuries in student athletes these days, and many of these are ACL tears. Parents often ask how to know when a knee injury may be serious. The most obvious symptom is severe pain or swelling in the knee joint. Your child may have heard a pop when the injury occurred. Look for signs they can't put weight on the knee around 48 hours after the injury, or if the knee feels unstable or wobbly. Those are all signs you should see a CHKD sports medicine specialist. Our sports medicine physicians, surgeons, athletic trainers, and physical therapists understand the needs of growing athletes and tailor treatment to fit each child's age and level of activity. Our goal is to accurately diagnose the problem in a timely fashion and provide the treatment that will ensure a safe return to activity. Kids want to play, and we want to help them get back in the game. To learn more, visit chkd.org. Sports medicine at CHKD. We're more than a hospital.
Yes, I'm here for the Ask Coach Young segment. Groucho Marx wanting to know if you have a fly that is flying around and you can't kill him. Coach Young, what is your suggestion in how to get rid of that fly? Get rid of that fly. Please let me know. Thank you very much.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Welcome back. You just heard it. Ask Coach Young. How do you get rid of the fly, sir? Let us know. Let us know.
Normally, I would just hit, if I had the buttons in front of me, I would hit your dump button and get rid of you. Then the fly is gone. That would be the easy way. If it is a real life fly, and you're in your house, let it land, spray it. That would be in the house. If you're somewhere else,
spray it, don't hit it.
Get the bug spray, spray it.
I don't have bug spray. That's the first problem. I gotta get bug spray.
Right. You got to get bug spray, and you need it.
I've literally had this fly, as you see the piano in the background fireplace. I've been hitting the rocks, the table, the piano. It's been everywhere, and I can't kill this sucker. Can't kill him.
Did you ever think he has as much right to be in that place that you break into to have the show than what you do? Because that's not your humble abode. People have to
abode? Abode?
Right. It's abode. I kept telling people, no, it's not. They said, man, Hatfield's doing well for himself. Does he really know how to play the piano? I said, Hatfield ain't been by a piano in his life. That's not his house.
Let me go back there and do it. I'll go do it right now if you want.
No,
Billy Joel. I'll go do it.
It's like they did on King and Queens when Deke walked in and he looked at Arthur, pointed the piano and say, play something. Because Arthur was selling.
That have been the Yang Sisters or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was funny as kid. That's one of the greatest.
It's an all-timer.
Where Arthur was teaching people how to play the piano. Anyways, that's not your place. But fly segment is done.
All right. So let's please get your questions so that we no longer have to deal with my foolishness, my foolish questions. Ed is begging for your questions, ladies and gents. Send them in via video. You can send it to us, hatfieldsports@gmail.com, an attachment through IG, Twitter, X, Facebook, you name it, and we'll pop your video up. Matter of fact, I told you the next two people that do it, I'll give you a free Virginia Preps Classic t-shirts. You got it. Where? There you go.
He's got some shirts.
All right.
You can do it.
Before I get to what I teased before break, because I'm going to forget now if I don't do it. I need to show. Remember, we talked about it. We're giving away a $100 Outback gift card, $50 Dillard's gift card, and some Virginia Preps t-shirts to the winner of our ESPN Bracket Challenge through CoVA Sports TV. Here's what it looks like, the standings. All right, here we go. Let's zoom in to see who's in first on the CoVA Sports group with nearly 200 folks that have jumped in. Road to Perfect is atop the leaderboard. How about Road to Perfect? Then you got ESPN fan 98511, whatever it might be. Ward, Julian's picks. I wonder if it's our buddy Julian Brown. It might be. I wonder if it is Julian. He's in the running. You're only 0.6% behind, Julian. You got Auburn. Hopes the War Darn Eagles win it. B. Madison, the answer key X, ESPN fan, and Hunt Manzan. Harrison Montague in the mix as well. Ed, I don't see. Where's your bracket? I thought you were up there. I don't see you up there. Did you fall out of the leaderboard? What happened to you? What happened?
Go down a little bit. I'll tell you when to stop.
Okay, go down a little bit. Tell you when to stop. Okay, we might be here a while. Nikki Z, HZD.
Go back.
Is that you there?
Go down. Right there. Bingo. Back up.
Where?
Right there.
ESPN fan 62190. That's you?
That's me, baby.
That's you. Well, you're in 6th place right now. You gotta jump. B. Madison, the answer key X, has also got Duke. So he's got. If it comes down to you and the answer key X, I wonder what's going to be the swing to vote, or is it not going to be swung because his bracket is better than your bracket? Let's see.
Yeah, I can't. I don't
answer
think
key's got Auburn, Michigan State, Duke over Bama. What do you have here? Let's see here. He's got Auburn, Michigan State, Duke, Bama. I don't think you can beat him. I think you're cooked, sir. You cannot win. The best you can do is probably second place.
Time out.
You know what that means?
Can you go to about 4 more pages and find your bracket?
No, my bracket's still being edited right now as we speak.
Yeah, you'd have to go to page 9, I think it is, to find yours.
Yeah.
I'm on page 1.
But you know what? That's okay. I will live with how my life has gone the last 2 weeks, minus the brackets. And I will take that over this because ultimately it's okay. It's quite all right.
That's because you're into materialistic goods.
I'm not into any materialistic goods. That's not a true statement. But you know what they say? You're going to finish in 2nd place, and 2nd place sometimes is the first loser. So you are the first loser. There you have it.
Now remember, clarify to the people, the Outback $100 gift certificate is to the person that wins it. Somebody asked me, is if we beat you and Hatfield, we get a prize.
No. It doesn't work that way. We'd be giving away a lot of gift certificates.
Yeah, we'd be giving, especially him. He's on page 9. We'd have like 900 people to give.
I'd be broke. We'd be broke.
No, it's based on the standings. Based on
and they have to reach out to us, or we'll reach out to them. Just it's very, very simple to do. So there you have it. You win, you get it, and we'll find out who that is. It's going to be someone most likely that's got Florida, Auburn. Now the question is, Bama's still alive. I see a lot of Houston. I see a lot of Duke, Auburn, Florida. I see one Houston. I don't see any Alabama winners on our leaderboard. So if somebody wins with Bama, I wonder if it could upset the apple cart here, so to speak. Change the whole view of it. By the way, as we now take that off the screen, whoops, there we go. One thing I would tell you, Ed, is R.J. Lewis is bolting for the draft, it looks like, and the portal. After his rough shooting game for St. John's, he is out the door. Will not be back with the Red Storm, it looks like. Why do you shake your head?
Well, that's a little bit of controversy, too, because if you remember, he was shooting horrible did not play, the last 5-6 minutes of the game?
3 for 17, yeah.
Pitino was questioned, hey, your stud is on the bench. Why didn't you play him? And Pitino was a little perturbed where, hey, you saw it. You saw what he was doing. Stop asking me the question. He wasn't playing well. We went with the decision. He's not in it. Now, was it last night Sampson, his best kid was not shooting well at all, but he left him in.
Yeah.
And even Steve Lapis said, that's what I would have done. You go with who brought you to the dance. That's who you dance with. Okay, they're having a bad shooting night, but you know what? If they're on the bench, they won't make any shots. If they're in the game, there's still a chance they can hit that one shot or be bold enough to take a good shot in crunch time.
Well, remember, Cryer dropped 30 against Gonzaga in the round of 32. He had a big game not too long ago.
Right. So, again, as a coach speaking, I've been in both those situations. You sit a kid down, you say to a kid, hey, forget that last miss. Just worry about your next make. Mentality situation. It all depends on, a lot of times it depends on who the kid is. Do they have confidence in themselves? I've been one to take a kid out whose confidence is lacking and tell my assistant, get his head right. I got to get him back in the game. And somebody else who doesn't need that pep talk, I'll just tell them, man, look, get your head up, get the next shot made, get a layup instead of a three. We need you in the game to win this. I cannot win this game with you sitting over here. That kind of talk to get him boosted up that he plays. So you just don't know. What we see is the end result. He's sitting on the bench. Did Patino say anything? Does Patino know that the kid is just boom? It kind of hurts me to see that he's gone in the portal. If he's going in the draft, that's a different story. But if he's jumping in the portal because I want to go to another school and it's based on my coach didn't play me in the last game, I'm going to take my ball and go home. Yeah, I don't like seeing that. Suck it up and, but they used to say, put your big boy pants on and next time shoot better. So
yeah. We'll be at the Mario Mullen All-Star Game later today. PIT's not too far off in the distance as we'll be turning the calendar to April. And my favorite day is coming up on Tuesday, ladies and gents. It's April Fool's Day. Oh, I'm so looking forward to that. That Easter not too far off in the distance, too. Before we bid adieu on this particular Saturday, the final one of March 2025 on 757 Saturday Sports Talk, powered by CoVA Sports TV, whether you're watching on Facebook, IG, Twitter, LinkedIn, you name it. Ed, you want to go over the matchups remaining for both the women's and men's tournaments?
Let's do that.
The Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight. Let's go ladies first because we haven't given them much love, right? Let's give the ladies a little love here. Why not? All right. So let's go to it. The NCAA women's bracket. Here it is. It's on the screen. Can you see it? I need to zoom in because you probably can't see it. Ed doesn't want to split.
I see it, but if we zoom in on each region, make it easier.
Let's get to the Sweet 16 games you got for today. It's a little easier to do that. You got Texas and Tennessee today. Texas is favored by 8.5. 3:30 matchup. I think Kim Caldwell's done a wonderful job at Tennessee in her first year coming over from Marshall, Sun Belt champs last year. But you see 101 in the first game, 82 in the second game against the Ohio State, a team that beat our Lady Monarchs this year. Texas, though, after dumping William Mary and Illinois, I think Vic Schaefer's squad wins this. I'm not sure they covered the 8.5, but I think they win this, and they'll march on to the Elite Eight. And then as far as the other portion of that Sweet 16, you got Notre Dame, TCU, Hannah Hidalgo versus Haley Van Lith. I think Notre Dame wins this. 8.5 is a big number again, but I think they pull it out just the end to cover that against TCU, the Horned Frogs. Rare to see a 3 favored by 8.5 against the 2, though, Ed. Very rare.
I could in women's play, I can see it because Notre Dame was the preferred choice as the season gone on. They were number 1 for a while. Mm-hmm. TCU was hardly talked about all year, so I see Notre Dame getting there.
ACC champs. How about UConn? They played a 30-win Jackrabbits team, totally obliterated them. They take on Oklahoma, which beat the runner-up from the last 2 years. They don't have Caitlin Clark anymore due to the Iowa Hawkeyes, and they're out. Favored by 15.5 are the Huskies against the Sooners. And then upper part of the bracket, USC just a 1.5-point favorite minus Juju Watkins against Kansas State, who beat Kentucky, Kenny Brooks' team in overtime. And Kansas State also beat Fairfield in the first round game there. I think USC is going to win that by more than 1.5. And UConn, they can name the score. I think they're just superior. So, again, I like the 4 favorites, and I think the 4 favorites all cover. How about you?
Yeah, I agree. A Southern Cal, even though they lost Juju in a horrible thing with the torn ACL, there's some other girls there that can play. I think they'll edge out Kansas, and I think it's going to be more than a point or 2 or 3. I think it could be 6-7 point game there. But I think the favorites, and I do think with Juju out, it favors UConn in that area to get to the Final Four. LSU making a run now. Run.
How about them? They're a 4.5-point dog against Lauren Betts on the inside. UCLA with maybe the best interior presence remaining in the big tournament. South Carolina can fool Wiley and Pow Pow. I love to say Pow Pow's name. I love Pow Pow. Right in a kisser. Can the South Carolina Gamecocks beat Duke, covered a 7.5. They had trouble with Maryland, who had that 111-point outing in the double overtime win over Bama before losing a close one to South Carolina on Friday. What you got? You got the 1 seeds, or do you think Kim Mulkey, Kara Lawson, one of those two will keep the 1 seed from getting there?
I think LSU has a better chance of beating UCLA than Duke beating South Carolina.
Agreed.
I don't discount any Kim Mulkey team at all. As long as they got some talent, I don't discount them at all. And I took South Carolina back in August to win the NCAA, and I ain't changing it to this point until they lose.
Really? Remember, they got smoked by UConn in the regular season meeting. You got them beating UConn, huh?
Yes, even though I really think that loss really woke them up. And they've been on a mission since then. And I think in a rematch, they'll beat UConn, and I'd love to see that rematch.
I think you will see that rematch, but I unfortunately do not think they win the rematch. I think UConn gets them. I think Paige Beckers is just playing too well right now, and the teammates around her like AZ Fudd and others are going to contribute enough. But I got South Carolina winning, and you know what? I thought LSU was going to lose to NC State. I got a feeling they're going to beat UCLA. I got a feeling. I just do. Nothing against Corey Close, but in a close game, I think Mulkey's group could rise to the occasion. They have enough offense. I wonder about their defense to an extent, but I got a feeling LSU might get it done. All right, let's go to the men's bracket, shall we? Let's do it. Here you go, men's bracket, Final Four picks. Let's see if Ed can knock this out of the park, or will he end up losing yet again against me? As for some reason, we have lost our – here we go. We got it now. It's coming up on the screen here in just a moment. There it is. Now we got to zoom in for you, for the folks out there. Auburn, Michigan State, Duke, Bama, and you have Florida, Texas Tech, Houston, Tennessee. Let's start off with Florida, Texas Tech. That game, what do you think? I'll give it a point spread 2, by the way, for Florida, Texas Tech today. It is a 6:09 Eastern start on TBS and True TV. Gators 6.5 is the line. You liking that, or are you taking the Red Raiders with the points?
No, Gators. Though Texas Tech has done a quiet job, as we talked with Chuck Culpepper about. Nobody talking about them. Of course, if they win this one, everybody be talking about them. But I just think Florida has too much for them for Texas Tech to outlast them. I think Florida, they have the bench. They can score from all 5 positions. I picked Florida, I think, to win this, to play, I think, Auburn in the next round. So
yeah, I think Walter Clayton Jr. will have a better game. I know Texas Tech had the 22 offensive rebounds. Elijah Hawkins didn't do a lot in the last game, but certainly Christian Anderson, Darion Williams. I don't think Texas Tech will negate Clayton and Richard and just that whole Elijah Martin, Florida contingency on the perimeter. Inside, they might have a slight advantage in this game, but give me Florida. And I think they covered a 6.5. But I tell you what, McCaslin's done a heck of a job there. Bama and Duke. Duke is favored by 7.5, and I got news for you. That's too many points. Duke could win this game, and they could win it 102-84. I'm not saying they can't, but the fact that Bama is a 7.5-point dog after scoring 113 points against BYU, setting a record for threes made attempted. Mark Sears with all his threes. I'm with Diabolical. Grant Nelson will be an X factor. I think Cliff Amore inside will be too. I got Bama winning this game. So the 7.5 to me is just – you're shaking your head no. I'm telling you, I think you guys are too fixated on the defense. If this game is played in the 90s, that's advantage Bama. Duke wants to keep this thing 80 or below, 85 or below. They do not want to get in a trap meet with Alabama. I'm telling you, you do not want to do it. And I think Bama's physicality. Here's the key to the game. If Malawach gets in foul trouble for Duke, bad news. Now, Bama could get in foul trouble. They had a lot of fouls of the night in their game with BYU. Didn't matter. BYU got to a slow shooting start, believe it or not, despite the 88 points. But they got in the bonus, did BYU at 13:56 to go. If Duke gets in the bonus and gets the whistle, like they got against Arizona late in that second half, by the way, that's going to be real pivotal too. So Duke can win it, but I think Bama's going to pull it out. I do. I really do.
I'm not going to sit here and say there's no way. Alabama's too good to say there's no way. And I'm not one of these Duke lovers that no matter what Duke does, they're the greatest in the world. No, I just think Duke is more methodical of their up and down game than Alabama. Alabama's going to get it go. They're just going to try to outscore you. I don't see them making 25 threes again. And I just think in the end, it'll prevail. Defense will prevail. It's needed. And Duke has the offense and the better defense. And they'll prevail in a close one. Definitely a close one.
Houston, Tennessee. Houston's laying 3.5 against the Volunteers. That's a tough call. I'm going to almost split the baby and go Houston wins outright, but they lose. They only win by 2 or 3 because they haven't won by a lot of points in their games so far against Gonzaga and against Purdue. In fact, their wins, as you look at them here on the bracket, Their last 2 wins, they prevailed 81-76 and 62-60. So if they win by more than 5 points, it's a surprise here. I'll take the points with the Vols, but I got Houston advancing on, much to my chagrin. I'm not a Kelvin Sampson guy, as you know, but Milos Uzan, LJ Cryer, Emmanuel Sharp will have a good shooting game. I think they win it. I think they do.
Give me Tennessee.
Ooh, you're taking Zakai, Ziegler, Chazanier, and the Vols to get it done, huh?
Yeah, I think Tennessee, as great as Florida was talked about coming into the tournament as the best team in the country at that moment, I really think right now in this tournament, Tennessee is that team that is really that hot and doing some things well. I know they haven't been here before, and Rick Barnes has been closer through all the years of different teams. I think Tennessee gets this one.
Auburn, Michigan State, your 5:05 Eastern matchup on Sunday on CBS. Did the old Brent Musburger there. My dad loves that. What do you think at 4.5 for Bruce Pearl's War Darn Eagles? Yeah, I said darn. I didn't say the word. What do you think? Will Chuckster be excited, or will Tom Izzo and company? By the way, Izzo, to his credit, haven't talked a lot about him. Jace Richardson, Jason's son, bounced back with 20 points, 4-6 from 3. 8 wins after trailing by 10-plus points this season. It's the most in college basketball. So they can get down like Auburn and come back. But this one has a chance to be a real blood. It's going to be just a battle to the fight to the finish. I just don't know if Michigan State's front line can keep Broome, Cardwell, Baker Mazar, that group in check for the whole 40 minutes plus. Going Auburn and to cover.
Watching Auburn play last night, there were points in the game I said to myself, Auburn, you're sleepwalking. What are you doing? This ain't opening round. And they didn't look as engaged as where they should. Now, then again, they took off. But if you open up against Michigan State like that, I'm not so sure they're going to allow you to open up back in there again. Auburn definitely more athletic, man for man. And we always talk about Michigan State being a great rebounding team. I think Auburn's even a better rebounding team than Michigan State. But I'm going with Auburn. I just think they're better.
Are they going to cover? What about the spread? It's 4.5. You laying that, or are you taking the points? I say they cover. I say Auburn by 7.
Yeah, I think that's a good 7's a good pick. I don't think it's a blowout type game. I love Tom Izzo and the way he does that much more than Bruce Pearl.
Got Jordan Scott coming, a.k.a. Fuzzy of South Lakes High fame. He
ain't there yet, so he's not going to be able to help him right now. But I think Auburn gets this, but it would not shock me in the least. And in some of my brackets, I have Auburn winning the whole thing. It would not shock me to see Michigan State beat them. And how about Izzo? What's his record against the SEC? Something like 12.
Oh, you're right. That's a great point. Against the SEC, he's now 10-0.
That's. I couldn't have guessed that if you paid me money on that.
About to be 10-1. I got to get this new tablet figured out so it stops shutting off on me. I got to figure out how to do it. I'm still getting my new tablet I got for free to get start working. I got free Sirius XM on there for 6 months. I'm in business, baby. We are going to say goodbye to all of you, but we'll see you later on if you go out to the Mario Mullen Invitational later today at Bayside High in Virginia Beach. We want to thank our guests for coming on, Mr. Chuck Culpepper, the Hall of Famer himself. For the coach, Ed Young, I am Matthew Hatfield. We'll do it next week in April. It's no April Fool's joke. We'll be here with all of you.
Hey,
757
Saturday. Wait a minute. Next month is April?
It is next week. And next month and next week is April. Correct.
When I used to have a birthday, it was in April.
Well, you have a birthday coming up?
Yeah, I just thought of that.
Wow. I'll have to get you a present. The same thing I give you every year.
I think let me check some. I think it's April 5th.
Is it really? It's next Saturday.
I haven't had it in a while. Hold on.
Oh, you haven't had it in a while? You skipped some years?
Yeah, I haven't had a birthday. I can't remember.
We'll see if we can get you a cake.
Yeah, April 5th. Oh, man.
Well, there you have it. That's
Cash App is open, people. Cash App is open for the retired.
Put your Cash App on the screen. We'll see how much you get. We'll do that next week and see what you get. I'm willing to bet you right now it'll be less than $3.32.
Oh man,
that's my guess.
You do that.
But if somebody wants to shut me up and give him more than $3.32, go ahead and we'll put this thing on the screen next week and donate for that. But that's my over under for you is $3.32, and I'm taking the under, not $332. $3.32.
I'm gonna put my Cash App up.
As I said,
and I will donate every dime of it to a charity that will now.
Will you really? That's nice of you.
Yes.
You'll donate all $2.27 of it. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping it to be more than that because I will put into there also for charity, something with kids. I want to do something for kids. That would be a great birthday present to give it to a charity for kids.
We'll talk to you all next time on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on CoVA Sports TV. Have a good one, folks. Enjoy the games and all the action as the madness of March is winding down and we're getting ready for April. Those Yankees, also known as the Skankies.
Bingo, give me a prediction about the American League East. Who's going to win it?
I have great fears of the Skankies because they're loaded. They'll buy their way out of anything.